All right, your page, you start, Pete.
Hello, hello. It's launch day. Welcome, one and all. Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the official launch page for our Kickstarter event. This is Mark Torres, that came from the radio. Hopefully, many of you know me. Some of you may not. Welcome. I'm here with my anchor for the project and longtime friend and also former co-host of my radio show, It Came from the Radio, Mr. Peter Palmiotti.
Yes, indeed. We're excited. We've got some people watching, which is good.
So let's get right to the basics. So what we're doing today is we're going to launch the Kickstarter campaign, which should be in the comments, the link somewhere, right on the page that people are watching right
now. Yeah, I'll go grab it and
we're going to put it in the yes. And we're going to launch the project. We're going to talk about it a little beforehand. We're going to launch the project, and then hopefully we'll get a whole big bag of money with tons of support. We would appreciate it. But during this time also, we're going to be having a giveaway. So I'm going to say this many times throughout this stream. So first off, with a minimum of 10 people, we're going to be giving away this puppy right here. This is I believe a 14-inch. Unopened, so I don't even know what's inside it. It's a Hermione Granger from Harry Potter figurine. You can see it still has the seal on it. It is unopened. So to win this, we're going to give this away today. To win this, what you got to do is you have to donate to the project, the Kickstarter campaign. And you get your name, we'll get your email, we'll get your name randomly entered into a little pot. I'm going to hit the button and it'll draw a name and you will win it. Now, there has to be a minimum of 10 people that donate. And also, for extra entries, if you give Pete a $2 tip, which is the link is there also, you can get an extra entry for your name. So your name will be put in an additional time. And we have our graphic designer, I believe. This is a circle. It's Abby Gabato. Say hi, Abby.
Hello.
You sound like you're in a tunnel.
I do. Hold on. Let me fix my audio.
So the question, I guess, if you have any questions, whatever questions you have, you can put them in the chat, and people link them up there and we can answer it as we go along. But basically, Designated is a passion project of mine, which has been 30 years in the NMA. Why do I hear that? Oh, there we go. Okay. I heard an echo. It's a passion project of mine that I had wanted to do since about 30 years ago. So when I was a young Mark, I always wanted to be in comics, and there was a way to get in. I was going to a comic book school called the Comic Book School of Fantasy Art and Comic Book Illustration. And there I learned to make the craft of making a comic book. I wanted to be an artist, a penciler, because at the time I always thought that that's how you get into comics. You're a penciler, you get to draw stuff, and then you also get to create the stories. So at the time, which is the 90s, I always thought that was what people had to do. So I went to school. I learned about the ins and outs about the business. I learned about being a comic book artist. And I also learned that the writers are the one that dictate the story. And I was told by the teachers that I'm a better writer than I am an artist, which is fine. So at the time, they said that if you had $2,000 in 90s money, you can make your own comic book. And I was like, that seems very plausible. Of course, it's making $2,000 in 90s money is not as easy as one would think. But I wrote the story. I started looking around to get it done. I ran into Peter Palmiotti at a convention, at the Big Apple convention in, where was that? It was the church basement. Do you know where the church basement was?
In the church. It was
in Manhattan.
Yeah, Uptown Church. I forget.
Wait, it was somewhere in Manhattan. It was a famous church. Columbus Circle. It was in Columbus Circle. Oh, because we wanted to. Hello, Genuine Comics.
Welcome.
So it was because of there used to be a big convention in the Javits Center. This is well before New York Comic Con. This is once again in the early 2000s now. It was a convention in the Javits Center that got closed down due to certain alleged reasons, and the convention was moved to the church. And Pete was there, and I was looking for an anchor because I had a friend of mine, Jay Smith. Actually, it was a brother of a friend of mine from high school that I knew, and he was willing to try drawing the comics. So I had an artist, and I had to get an anchor, and that was when I met Pete. And then I wrote the story, and he drew it, all 110 pages. So all 110 pages are written and drawn back in the 90s. Pete started doing some inks, and then life happens, and then circumstances happens, and then here we are 30 years later trying to make a reach out of it. What's interesting is that thanks to the pandemic, Kickstarter and crowdfunding has been a boom. So it gives a lot of independent creators the opportunity to make the book happen. Now, during that time, I also managed to wind up doing a radio show. It came from the radio. And the goal of the radio show was to get my book published. So to help me network with people and meet up with contacts, and that has happened. So I actually got a book published. It was the Phaser Sunburst crossover, which was my character Sunburst. And it actually got published. Jim Stranko did the cover. And it's out there. And it happened. So yay. But it's still not my comic. It's still not the baby that I want to do. It's still not the project. So then here we are. So let's say, Pete, why don't you talk about your dealings on your end? How did it look from your side of the world? That's my side of the world, how we got here. How get to your side?
I'll mention Abby's having trouble connecting or something.
Graphic designer, having about it.
Yeah. Which we'll see her lovely work when we go live. So what's my experience? With
so you're sitting in the convention.
Yeah.
I come along, and what happens?
From what I remember, you were looking for an anchor, and I really liked the work, and I started working on it way back when. And yeah, like lots of stuff happened in between then and now. But right now, issue 1 is fully inked, and I'm mixing it up with issue 2, and I got some pages from issue 3 inked. But I'm going to focus on issue 2 and get that done probably before the campaign is done. And yeah, I really like the work, and I read it way back then. I haven't read it recently, but I really enjoyed the story, and yeah, it's exciting to finally, crowdfund this project and get it out there to folks. Really hope it does very well for all of us involved, and that we can get all 5 issues crowdfunded and get the books into people's hands. Be awesome.
So, as an inker, and you're inking pages now,
right?
Do you reference the story at all, or you just look at the page and just work out whatever you do?
Yeah, I mean, as an anchor, I really need to know the story. It's like this is the one case where I read the story. It's years ago, but no, it's like unless the artist doesn't do their job, and Jade did a really good job on the book. I have no confusion, so there's no issue. There's no me researching anything. It's all right there. I just got to make it look better.
Okay. So Abby, are you with us now?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, you still sound like you're in a tunnel, but I can hear you.
I don't know why. I'm sorry.
It's probably just a holding the microphone too close or too far away.
Does this make a difference? Or maybe it's because I'm halfway around the world.
That's also true. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about how you got into mixed up into this mess of a project.
How did I get mixed up? Hi, I'm Abby. I am an interior designer by profession, but I do graphic design on the side sometimes. And how did I meet you, Mark?
Well, we met online, and you started doing editing for the radio show.
Yeah. And then he pulled me into this designated campaign, and everything looks good.
So why don't you tell us about the process of designing the web page? Like, is this the first time you ever did something like this?
Yes, it's the first time for me to make a Kickstarter page and a web page for anything. So the things I do for Mark are mostly it's the first time I do things like, doing the radio show. It's the first time I've ever edited the radio show, and yeah, Mark's given me that opportunity to be creative. So yeah.
So are my projects your guinea pig?
Yes, sorta.
Was it Fat KR33P Supreme? That would be Kelly Gordon. Says, "Oh, hi, Mark. Welcome to the stream." Actually, we're at the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to mention it again. So right now, you can actually give Pete some donations. It's in the link down there. But you're going to be entered to win this puppy right here. So Hermione Granger, 14-inch figurine, unopened. As you can still see, it has a little seal on it, still unopened. It's in, I would say, super really good condition. A couple of little marks on the bottom here and such, but otherwise unopened. It's a value of over $200. Actually, is there a link for the description, Pete? Do you have that, or do I need to pull that up?
You need to drop it.
Okay, I will drop that in 1 second. So you get to enter that. A minimum of 10 people, and if you donate to Pete right now, if you tip Pete right now, you get your email entered into the list. And at the midway point, 12:45 today, we're going to do a drawing to see who wins this project. But you also to get your main entry, you have to donate to the campaign, and you get 1 entry per donation for the campaign as well. So if you really want to get this, you can throw Pete some tips. If not, you just wait till we go live for the project, and you can get it. So Pete, why don't you talk for a bit while I pull up the link?
Yeah, so we got some people in the chat. General Piggy, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. I don't know if you know that movie, Mark. L-Man. Oh, hi, Mark. Everybody's making that same joke.
Yes, great.
I love that movie. It's horrible.
I've never seen it, but I've heard enough about it.
Oh, you should definitely check out the
worst movie of all time, The Room.
The Room, but also what's his face made a movie about his movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm blanking right now. Anybody in the chat might know what I'm talking about.
Tommy Wiseau. So they made a movie about making of the movie.
Yes. It's that actor that's in everything. He was in the end. He's one of Seth Rogen's friends.
Oh, what's the guy's name? James Franco.
James Franco, yeah.
James Franco. All right. So
he's incredible. All right. So
the disaster artist. Disaster artist is what you're talking about, right?
Right. Yeah. It was fantastic. Okay. Lisa hates me. I made her watch it. So this is loading up, and I'll make sure it's fully loaded, and then go to it.
Okay, so now we have that. So Abby, why don't you There she is. So why don't you tell us about, you're in the Philippines right now, right?
Yes.
So have you ever
Yes,
worked with
it is.
anybody
Yes, I have.
outside the United States, outside your country before?
I've designed a few houses in Europe before,
So you're a
but
house
not a
designer.
lot. Yes. That's my job. Hold on, I'm trying to get the camera steady.
All right, she's working
Okay.
on it. There we go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, hi.
So is it weird working with someone outside the country? It's weird for me because the time difference is just crazy for me.
It's weird because at midnight, well, at 2 in the morning for me is marks 2 p.m., so it gets confusing sometimes. And trying to schedule this whole live stream thing was confusing. Yeah, it's fun. It's nice
And
to work with other cultures also.
so do you notice any cultural differences between
Uh,
yourself and people you've worked outside?
mm, maybe for houses, some people like to build, you know, um, people from other countries tend to build their house differently because obviously weather differences. Well, also, I guess Westerners are more straight to the point than Asians are. We're a little shy. You guys aren't shy. But yeah, that's the main difference.
Do you see
So
the harmony?
yes, I see it. Yes, that is the figurine
Okay.
that you can win. Like I said, it has a value. It has a value as on this website is at $208.99, and it's out of stock, so you can't even buy it from them. So haha, if you want it, you got to come get it from us.
Can I get it? How do I get it?
How do you get it? Well, when we
Am
go
I
live,
allowed to try?
I don't care if we go live. When we go live at 12, you can go to the Kickstarter campaign that you designed. You can buy the book. Your email will get sent to us, and we'll get entered randomly into the email decider thing. And if anybody wants extra raffles, you can give Pete Palmiotti a tip, which is listed in the links. And then at around, I'd say 12:45 today, Eastern Standard Time, New York time, I hit the button. It'll give me a little randomizer, and that email will get this Harry Potter figurine. And like I said, that's the image right there. But this is it right here. So true that I have it unopened right here. Look at this. So, like I said, it's unopened. So it could be a brick inside. I don't know because I haven't opened it.
Ooh, cool. So detailed.
Are you a Harry Potter fan? Is that what you are?
Tiny bit. My best friend is. So maybe if I get it, I'll give it to them.
Well, why don't you tell the best friend to come on to the live stream and donate and get the book?
Oh, they're watching.
Oh,
I'm just not sure if they're commenting. Hello to my friend.
Yeah, we
You
got
know who you are.
more comments. Let's see.
oh wow, me and someone else did right. Ohio Mark, so weird. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was all about that. Designing houses. Can we see some character designs and background story?
Yes, so we'll be able to see some images and stuff when we go live. I have the pages in the other room, the actual pages of the book here, but I don't have anything I can just grab and show. So let's say a little background about the characters. All right, so we have two warring alien races. We have the Forlons and the Geronians. The Forlons are the good guy aliens. Those are your classic gray aliens that you see on TV back in the day. Remember, this is in the 90s. And then you have the warlike, hulking Geronians, which are obviously the bad guys. And they're fighting over a newly discovered power source. And the good guy king decides to hide the power source from the bad guys, and that war leads them to Earth. That's where we meet our main characters. We meet them a little at a time over the course of the 5 issues. And the 5 characters would be Natasha Ashe. She is the female lead. She is 21 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Blonde hair, blue eyes, classic all-American girl, as they call her. She gains the power of enhanced instincts. So everybody out there knows that little gut voice that you have, that little voice you hear things like, oh, maybe I should do this instead of that you normally don't listen to. She has it like to the next level. So anytime a split decision happens, she'll hear what to do, her instincts will give her a little guidance. So you can think of it as like being able to see 2 seconds into the future or something, so you know what decision to make. Then we have the second oldest, which would be Adam. He is an Asian American. He was based off of Power Ranger character name of the same name, Adam, because I was a huge Power Ranger fan in the 90s, which I am still a huge Power Ranger fan. And he has enhanced upper limit human body strength when under duress. So the key thing about this is that they all have powers, but they don't know how the powers work. There's no instruction manual. They just kind of figure things out. And as you read the book, you also kind of figure things out as well. Like no one sits down and tells them, okay, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that. None of that stuff. There you go. So those are the characters. So we have Adam, which is the Asian American. So he's as strong as the strongest human is right now. So if you look up Wikipedia and you find out who can lift the most pounds, he has the ability to reach that level of strength. He's as fast as Usain Bolt. I know he's the fastest human right now, which is weird that I know that, but he can run if needed to faster than Usain Bolt. That's the kind of power that he has. And he also has enhanced durability and enhanced healing once again when needed. So it isn't always on. He doesn't know how to turn it on. It just kind of happens. The next person we have, which is the girl with all the hair, that would be Kelly. Kelly was named after an actress that I really had the hots for back then. Her name was Kelly Hu. She is I think she's like 16. So as a teenage female from a male point of view, and correct me if I'm wrong, Abby, teenage females have a lot of emotions.
Yes.
Okay.
Crying for no reason, check.
So I felt that giving her the power of, I call it emotional. Oh yeah, emotional redirection and absorption. So basically, her power is that if she's in a crowd of people or 2 people or whatever, the strongest emotion in her immediate area gets absorbed into her. So if you're at a baseball game or you're at a fight and everybody's all excited, she'll get excited. If everybody's upset or if you're at a funeral and you're sad, she'll get really sad. And it's the strongest emotion. So if there's 5 people in a room and one guy is super high and excited, she'll be able to feel that as opposed to the other 4 people. And she'll feel that, and then it will get projected onto all the other people around her. So that power also comes in handy during the comic. And then we have Chris, who's the African American guy. He, my very first best friend I had. His name was Chris Hughes. He had passed away many years ago. This was elementary school. I had a friend named Chris. That was where his name comes from. And he has the power of enhanced memory, which is not the same thing as being super, super smart. But if he can see something, he'll remember it. If he reads something, he'll remember it. So he can read the dictionary, but he has to actually read the dictionary, and then he'll know what all the words mean. But that doesn't mean that he's smart. He just remembers a lot of stuff.
Right.
And then finally, which is the most powerful of the group, and the reason being is that because he's a 5-year-old boy, which is Adam's brother, the little kid with the baseball hat, who was based on Godzilla Raids Again, the old Godzilla movie where it has a little Chinese boy with the little hat and the little shorts. That was where I got his idea and look from. And his name, Ed, comes from, there was this old, I don't know if it was Looney Tunes. I don't think it was Looney Tunes. It might have been the guys who did Woody Woodpecker, Walter Lance. There was some cartoons about this guy. And it was like quote unquote educational cartoons about what to do when you're fishing and you're hunting. And his name was Ed. And I just thought it was a really funny name. So that's why his name is Ed. So in the cartoon, I remember this one sketch that they were saying, make sure you have bright colors when you're out hunting. And so he has him, not a bear, not a deer, and he has whistles and all that stuff. And someone in the background in the cartoon goes, "Hey, have you seen a deer?" And he goes, "What?" And so his hands become like antlers and he gets shot because they think it's a deer. And then at the end of the cartoon, all the hunters have deer tied to the front of their car, except for Ed's car, which has the deer driving the car and Ed's tied to the front of the car. I've always wanted to see them again. I'm sure if I could find it on YouTube, I can see it again. But it's something that just stuck in my head as a very interesting character, and that is the 5 powers.
Nice.
So Pete, what we got for the chat? What else is going on in there?
Should we mention about the cover, what we're doing or possibly doing, or?
Yes. So the cover, that's drawn by Babe artist Francesco. He's most famous for being a Babe artist, but at the time he was most famous for doing Savage She-Dragon for Image Comics. Right. And from what I understand, he's going to do a revisit to that image that you can see right there. So that is not the actual cover, but it's going to be very like that.
Right. So we'll be doing it over. It'll be hopefully slightly better.
Yes, a modernized, I guess, a digital upgraded variant of that image that he did.
Right. Cool. And are we? Well, I guess when the campaign goes live, we'll get into a lot of the extras.
Yeah, the
tiers now.
No, we can when we launch, we can go scroll down the whole page and we can go thing by thing by thing by thing.
All right, we got a half hour, so.
Yeah, half hour once again. If you're interested in getting this really cool 14-inch Hermione Granger figurine, you can enter into our contest unopened, as I said before. Once we go live in a half an hour, you can donate to the book. We'll get your email. Your name will be entered. Also, if you want to give a Pete a tip, you get an extra entry for your book. And then the name will be drawn today. It'll be drawn. And then when the campaign is done, we're going to be sending it out. My son loves Bolt. Does it the Bolt that's the dog or the Usain Bolt? Yeah, the dog, Bolt. That was
the dog.
The Disney movie.
Yeah. See? Yeah.
Maybe the dog's named after the Usain Bolt.
That's actually possible. Kelly is not emotionally damaged. Well, you're not a 16-year-old female. Their powers do not combine. They're very low-key powers, actually. There's no well, thanks. There's no
lasers.
Yeah, there's no lasers. There's no superhero team. There's no if you're familiar with Marvel Comics, with Professor X or Jean Grey, you used to get like all the graphics and stuff. There's none of that stuff. They're just regular people. Stuff happens to them. You can't even tell that their powers are being used. The only one, I didn't mention what Ed's powers were. So Ed's powers is the power of wish or the technical conversation is he has astral projection, so he can appear when he's sleeping to other people who are not sleeping. He can appear into people's dreams, and he can manifest items out of thin air when under extreme duress. Once again, so there's 3 instances, I believe, in the comic where that happens. That something really happens. That something big happens, and he's a kid, so he gets scared, and something pops out for him.
Cool. We could mention the other members of our team.
Yes. So we have George Medina, who's doing letters. He is a podcaster for Catch the Craze. He has his own comic book out called The Adventures of Wonder Duck. He's actually at Terrificon right now, so if he's watching, shout out to George.
Yes.
We have Jade Smith. Like I said, he was a friend of mine from high school. His brother. He was a brother of a friend of mine from high school. So we he did the pencils. We have Hassan Godwin, who is a friend of mine who I had met at the comic book school, New York Academy of Comic Book Art and Fantasy Illustration. He actually joined me on the radio show that we did. And I've known him for many, many, many years. He's gone on to bigger and better things. He's on Secrets of the Sire with Mike Dolce is where he's at now. And then we have a graphic designer, which is Abby. And then we have Pete.
Yep.
Oh, so yeah, what were you going to say, Abby? Go ahead.
Some of the superpowers you mentioned that the characters have in the comic book remind me of the Eternals superheroes from Marvel. Like the emotion one, I forget their names, and then Ed's powers, which they can manifest things out of thin air.
You mean like with Sprite with the illusions?
Yes, right.
Did you like that movie?
Emotion. Yeah, Harry Styles was in it. I'm a One Direction fan.
Did you see Eternals, Pete?
Yeah, it like the I don't know whatever it is, the Phase 4 of Marvel isn't as strong as previous movies, but there's some good stuff in each movie and show and whatnot. You know, I liked Eternals. It's kind of a strange thing.
So did you also
people,
did you also see it for Harry Styles?
I didn't care.
I said, did you also see the movie because of Harry Styles?
No. Which one was
because
he?
of Angelina Jolie. He is the last. What is he?
He was the boyfriend. Right?
He's from. No, he's not the boyfriend.
Okay.
Wait,
he appeared in the He appeared in the last few minutes of the show.
He was the boyfriend.
Of who?
He was of Cersei.
No,
not the superhero one. The non-powered one.
Is he the one becoming the Black Knight?
Yes.
Yes.
That was the boyfriend.
Okay, yeah, that was the boyfriend. Yeah.
I need to rewatch.
Are you sure you watched the same movie? That was the boyfriend. That was the one. I remember the scene where he was talking with Sprite, and he had the hots for Cersei, and they were talking about them getting together.
I have to Google. Hold on.
Boy, I guess that shows how into that movie she was. All right, so see, if you could have a cameo, one person or team for any Marvel and DC into your story, who would it be and why? Oh, so like if I had a crossover of my characters, well, I'm biased because I would love the Hulk. He's my favorite character, but what got me into comic books was actually Star Fox. Oh, thank you, EJB. No, he was Star Fox. He wasn't the boyfriend. Okay.
Yes. And like it was who was the guy from Game of Thrones? That's Black Knight.
Ah, okay.
Now Star Fox that's the weirdest cameo, like for a character in a movie, like because nobody knows the character and they're just like, hey, I'm Star Fox. Oh, okay.
Well, I think that's just for the diehard Marvel fans.
Yeah, well, even I don't remember who the hell Star Fox was.
And you worked for Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, Thanos' brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Google.
So
Yeah.
when you were
Man.
at Marvel, did they give you like an encyclopedia of all the characters, what they look like,
No.
or you just?
No. I mean, maybe if it was a writer or artist, maybe, but you know, I'm just an anchor. I'm just tracing lines, you know. I could have asked, you know, it's like I could have asked, like when I was working on Aquaman, the editor was like, "Do you want to read the script?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." You know? There was an issue where they had like a dream sequence or premonition. I forget exactly what it was, but it entailed like Aquaman with a different costume and stuff. And we had to redo things, and it was a mess that didn't really mean anything to the people reading the comic. You know.
What's up, Charles?
Hey, Charles, welcome.
So, actually, you're gonna be super popular now because of Aquaman is gonna get his arm chopped off soon, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Because that's what you're most famous for, is working on Aquaman when he lost his hand.
Well, if they put a spear on it, I guess.
So you don't think they're gonna go that route with the movie and we get Jason Momoa with a spear in his hand?
You know, DC, I don't put anything past them. I don't know. You know, they're having too much trouble lately. They did decide not to do the Snyderverse. They said it's official. We're not doing it. So I don't know what that means though, but okay.
Well, I mean, they're not going to do it until they say they're going to do it, because, you know, if you look at how they go back, they just say stuff to try and generate some interest, and then they'll do whatever they want based on what the results are.
Yeah.
So what was that? What was that question that popped up?
Where you? Yeah, I'll just post it up there so you can read it.
Where did you come up with the designs of the bad guys? Okay, so the bad guys, like I said, were the classic gray aliens. So at the time, at the 90s, whenever anyone said aliens, those are the ones that you automatically think of. The big head, little scrawny arms, running around. Those are the alien of the Forlons. And when I told the artist, I was like, all right, this is what they look like. And he actually went out and he just drew it. So he gave me, there really wasn't much designing done. I just said, this is what it looks like. And one of the things I did was that I had pictures of whoever the characters were based off of. And I said, yeah, they look like that. So it made it easier for him to just figure out what they look like. So if I said that that Adam looks like Adam Power Rangers, you go on TV, you say, oh, he looks like that. Actually, it comes in handy now. So whenever I run into a new artist and I describe the characters, I just go, this is the picture of what they sort of look like. Kelly was based on the Olsen twins back in the 90s. Adam was Adam from Power Rangers. Natasha was Britney Spears. And Chris was based on the guy. So there was a movie I was watching, The Day After Tomorrow. It was a disaster movie by that Roland Emmerich and Toby something or other. The guys did Independence Day. And the guy in the movie, I was like, hey, he looks, if I was casting the movie, that would be the guy. So I had to look him up, like, that's the guy. He looks like that. So the aliens, you already had the classic gray aliens, but the bigger, bulkier one was actually based off of a comic book I was reading. It was an Incredible Hulk book, and he went up against some really bulky, crazy-looking aliens. And I was like, I kind of like that idea. So look at that and see what you can do. I forget that the Trojans. That's what they were. The Trojans. I was like, yeah, make them look like that. and he drew it. And then he did so I wrote this story, 22 pages. I gave it to him. He drew it. I wrote the next story. He drew it. Whatever. And what was most interesting about the artwork is that as he was drawing it, it was improving over time. And it took a long time for him to do. It wasn't like, we weren't a comic book company. So he did it whenever he was able to do it. So I don't know how long it actually took to draw the 110 pages. Might have been a year, might have been 2 years. But when he got to issue 5, the aliens and stuff actually looked better than they did in issue 1. So when he finished all 110 pages, I went through all the pages that I didn't like. And I was like, well, you draw better now. Can you redraw some of these panels and pages from before? And he did. So one of the major things we're going to show, which we are less than 15 minutes away, about 15 minutes away from launching, is the main introduction to the female character. And she's in her underwear. And the original image is very different than what actually got into the book. So it's really cool to see the differences of that. So as for redesigns, I would think I'll say we had one pass, so one redesign over the characters. He actually did an amazing job for a guy who's never drawn comics before, and for a person, my experiences, and he was my first experience with writing something. His images were what I was thinking. Like you write it, and you're like, oh, that looks pretty decent. I've spoken to many other creators over the years, and a lot of times you do not get what you want. And I thought that was the norm. Like if it's your first time doing it, and that's what happens, oh, that's how it always happens. But apparently not. In the comic book school for inking, I learned a lot of stuff, and I was always as Peter can attest to, correct me if I'm wrong, a good inker can help a really bad penciler, and a bad inker can ruin a really good penciler, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's every, like the artist is definitely like three people in traditional comics, the penciler, the inker, and the colorist. And any one of them can ruin it. Bad coloring could ruin a great penciler and inker's job, and bad pencils don't always lead to a good final result, and so on. But Jade did a fantastic job. It's more old school, it was done in the 90s, so it looks like a 90s comic, and it's paced like that and reads like that. But I think a lot of people will enjoy this book, and I want to read it again in print form. So with Hassan's coloring and the lettering and finished package,
And that's something else also to think about. Actually, Abby, did you read the book at all, or were you just looking
Not
at the
yet.
images I was sending you?
I haven't read it all yet.
So, Abby, when you saw the images, because you've actually seen all the 22 pages, and you've seen the progress, what were your thoughts without reading the story at all? What did you think of what you saw?
It seemed exciting so far. What else did I see? I liked how the aliens were drawn. Very cool. Not gross.
Yeah. It's very close encounters with the typical aliens, and then the big bulky aliens are awesome looking.
Yeah. Cool.
So, Pete, as the middleman for the inker, since you're the middle guy in the three, do you find it that you have the most or the least importance in that stage? So let's say so we have a really sucky penciler. You come in, you save the work. Can the colorist still mess up?
Yeah, the colorist can always mess it up. I mean, it's like there have been plenty of times, and like, look, I've been doing this for 30 years, and there's a reason why I want to take on coloring. and that's not because I want more work on my back. It's because it's just frustration. You know, you're working for publishers and they hire the team and just you're a part of the team, and you know, I could voice my opinion, but they have final say. And there's been plenty of times where I'm like looking at the final book and I'm like, it's okay, you know, but you know, all the work and detail you put into something, and then they just color a whole half the page blue, and you know, it's like, what are you doing? Or they get things wrong, or just little details that are important to the story that are colored incorrectly, or just, you know, obscured a bit. So yeah, just I'm going to be coloring my own book. So if it comes out crappy, it's my fault.
Is it like giving a blank coloring book to different children and
Yeah.
seeing different results?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
You also do penciling, right, Abby?
Sometimes.
Is
You do your own
something on
penciling?
screen that we see?
Uh,
The little MFC logo, is that you?
oh yeah. I penciled it and then Peter inked it for us. So yeah, that's
So-
Mark's logo now.
I never sent you that image. So where did you get that image from? Was it just something that was in your head? Because I have to say, I was shocked by how well that resembles me and how well it looks.
You in the Meet the Makers of the Kickstarter page, you had a photo there, so I just drew it on paper and then sent it to Peter.
Why don't you actually talk about that whole process about the Pringles man and the design?
So during the process of trying to make up a logo, Mark drew this circle with the number 3 and 2 dots for eyes and a smile.
It wasn't
I
a
think
number 3.
Well,
He
okay.
had a thumbs up. He had a
Oh,
thumbs
yeah,
up. The number.
Well, it looked like. Well, when you draw a thumbs up, it looks like the number 3. Right? Okay. Anyway, did the guy have a hat originally, or did I just put it there? I think it didn't have a hat. Yeah, it looked like the Pringles logo.
He had a hat. It
Yeah,
was a happy
oh
face
yeah,
with
he
a
did.
hat and a thumb.
Yeah, yeah. And then I made it into I inked it because Mark penciled it, and then I tried inking it. I'm not a very good inker, unlike Peter is. It turned out awful, so I had to redo everything and get inspiration from one of Mark's actual photos.
Yeah,
So-
I saw the pencils and I was like, this is really good. And Mark
Thank
was
you.
like, drop the hand with the thumbs up and just do the face. So I
Right.
inked
Yes.
it. I inked it, and it started becoming more graphic than than the pencils. And I was like, let me just go with this and see if he likes it. And I showed it to him, and he said, perfect. So I was happy.
Thank you.
So as a penciler, there you go. You have someone inked your work. Is this the first time you had somebody ink your work, Abby?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's the first time.
It exceeded, it met, or it fell below your expectations.
It's better than what I thought it would be if I did it.
That's all. That's what you
Yeah.
want.
Thank you.
So
yeah,
what kind
that's
of
it.
training did you have? Did you go to school for art? Did you go to school for graphic design? Yeah.
Me, so I went to the school. Well, okay, history. What is I did a lot of things. So, in college, I went to the school called the Philippine School of Interior Design, where everything they taught was just about interior design. But when I was younger, like in my around 10 to 15 years old, I went to art school with Ted Luna, the descendant of one of the Lunas, which is like a very prominent, famous Filipino artist, historical artist. So I was trained by one of his descendants. when I was 10. I got into anime drawing also, but all traditional, nothing digital. So I'm only learning the digital part of the graphic design at present. So that's how I'm learning.
So, Pete, speaking of digital, you were a traditional on-paper artist. Can you describe a little bit about if you are switching over? Because I know some work, actually, that cover, the cover image that we had for the Francesco piece, it was digital inks. Was that one of your first things that you did digitally, or were you doing digital before that?
It wasn't digital inks. It was traditional inks.
It was traditional inks, but on digital pencils, right?
Maybe it's been so long since I inked that piece.
There was no physical cover because Francesco only works digitally. I remember this conversation.
Okay, so it must have been. Maybe that was one of my first attempts over inking over digital pencils. Yeah, I guess I had it printed out and just inked and made them look good.
So you haven't done digital inks then? You've only done still physical?
Yeah, I mean, really, like, I've only become comfortable inking over digital pencils recently. And I know previously, like, I guess with this cover, that I did over his work, I don't even remember that it wasn't real pencils. But I've inked more than 5 things, so hey, Lionel, welcome.
Lionel. So I just remember that distinct conversation that I had with you about that piece, because you're like, yeah, have them send me the pencils, and I was like, hey, you gotta send the pencils. He goes, yeah, I don't draw on pencils, I only do digital. And you're like, what do you mean he only draws on digital? How am I supposed to do that? I go, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with it for a long time because it's a different mindset, and I've always gone out of my way to ask for original pencils, and what it wasn't until maybe a year ago where I started doing more inks over digital pencils, and it finally came to a point where, because I was going, I'm originally from New York, originally from Brooklyn, but now I'm living out in Kentucky, and I'm living in a small town, and we have like 2 copy centers, like mom and pop copy centers. And it's such a pain in the ass trying to get them to, print stuff out or, understand what I do, because they have no clue. And I could tell them 100 times, and we go through the same thing every time. It's like, can you print this out? Can you do this? Can you do that? They don't understand what I do. Anyway, I eventually got a printer. I got an Epson. It's a printer scanner. The only thing I'm really interested in printing on it is Blue Line. But I needed a full-size scanner as well, so it does double duty. And I'm like, well, I'm going to bypass all that hassle and just get a printer myself. And it's really changed everything for me, because I became more comfortable once I could do it in-house here, just print it out and ink over the Blue Line. It's a lot more a lot easier than it used to be.
So
but
why,
it's like
Blue Lines?
I was trained traditionally, and I've been doing traditional for years, so inking over Blue Lines is challenging. Well, actually, in my case, because my printer is the blue ink got stuck and I needed professionally cleaned or something or another, I use Redline. I printed out red, the pencils in red, and just ink over that. And actually, I enjoy that better than blue. But that's my own thing. Blue Line is is what everybody uses, you know, what everybody prints out, you know, inkers across the globe have been doing.
And
Why is that? Because blue was it's because of Photoshop, probably. In Photoshop, I don't use Photoshop, so I don't have this function, but there's a button in Photoshop that you can press that deletes the blue line, and you'll have just the black image. So you'll just have the inks, you know. In what I use is Clip Studio Paint, and there's a little like you have to do 8 different things to do the same thing. And it's I'm not a master of it, and sometimes it doesn't come out exactly 100% correct, but it's like 98.9% correct. I'm a stickler for, you know, precision, you know, being an anchor and being as picky as I am. So it's I want to be 100% accurate every time. So I want to get better at it.
All right. So according to the time, we're almost at noon, right? Abby, did you want to say something before we start?
Oh, I wanted to answer why it's blue.
Yes, yes, Abby. Why is it blue? I like how you raised your hand.
So I'm a high school teacher, so yes, I still raise my hand even if I'm the teacher. So, traditional artists use blue pencils before they line their artworks because it's subtle. You can draw and you don't have to erase it after you ink on black because you can't. It's not very obvious when you like ink and then copy. It won't print out on paper. That's all.
There you go.
So yeah, so Pete, you have like a graphic or something for? Oh, should I share the page? I gotta share the page, right? Let me see. Yes, I gotta share the page. So get the graphic up for the big countdown. Share screen. Look at me figuring stuff out.
Well, okay, you're going to do the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I hit the share screen button, but nothing happened.
I'm gonna put up a video, and then when the video is done, the campaign should be live. That's the
right.
intention.
Okay, hold on. Let me go here.
So
we're gonna go here.
When you tell me you're ready.
Okay, so it's sharing the screen right now. Right? You see it?
You? Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll do the countdown and I'll hit the button and then we'll see what happens.
All right, so there's the screen and we should go live. So let me go here.
So this is the big moment, 30 years in the making. Very excited.
That's right. We got 17 people signed up, so they're gonna get first big dibs, right?
I don't. The button and we launched. It's saying it's launching, and there we go. We are now live. So let me.
So you got to go back.
Hit the share screen again. Technology, you are not my friend.
We're a little glitchy here, but that's okay.
All right, so did that come up now?
All right.
All right, so we are now live. So this is the campaign. This is done by, all the graphic art stuff is done by Abby. And we just go down here. There we go. So we have the video, which is Can
Go
you?
full
I don't
screen.
know. All right. So then we
Yeah.
have the video. I don't know if it will play. Like, will you be able to pick up the sound?
You have to. You probably have to. There's a button to turn on audio, so you might have to back out and go back in, and make sure you hit the button for audio.
Well, let's see if I hit it right the first time.
Okay.
Yappa Toy, and welcome
Oh,
to the
yeah,
Designated
okay.
Kickstarter promotional video. This is your narrator, as well as the creator of Designated, Mark Torres speaking. As we scroll through some pages, penciled by J. Smith, with inks by Marvel and DC's very own Peter Palmiotti, with a cover by Babe artist Francesco, also inked by Peter Palmiotti, I will tell you a little bit about the book. Designated is a 5-issue miniseries that tells the tale of two warring alien races, the peace-loving Forlans and the warlike Duronians, fighting over a newly discovered power source, the Capricious Star. This war finds its way to Earth, and our 5 heroes, Natasha, Kelly, Chris, Adam, and his younger brother Ed, not only wind up caught in the middle, but each gaining powers as a result. Designated has been a passion project of mine for almost 30 years. It is a full and complete story, over the 5-part series that is, and all 110 pages have already been written and penciled. With your support, you can help us get issue 1 colored, printed, and sent directly to you. Now, what Kickstarter campaign would be complete without perks? Not this one. We have a few items, such as digital and physical copies of the book, trading cards, original artwork, and few high-end collectors out there, custom-made 5- and 6-inch clay figurines as the main characters by clay sculptor Shadow Rabbit. You can see more of his finished stuff at www.shadowrabbitart.com. As I have said countless times on my syndicated radio show, It Came From Radio, which can be heard on both terrestrial and online radio stations, as well as on over 40 different podcast places. If you're unable to financially support this project, like and share it on your social media platforms. Maybe someone else who you wouldn't even know about it will be able to help and be part of making this book a reality.
There you go. So what's interesting about that video is it took me forever to do it. It was so difficult to make that video. You don't even know how hard that was. And actually, Abby put the video and the audio together.
How many
for
takes did it
that.
take you to record the audio for it?
To do the actual video, that took like a day to figure out how to do that. And the audio, I read that script, I don't know, 6-7 times because I kept on messing up. And because I have no technology ability at all, I have to do it from the beginning all the way through. So even that one, I messed up a little bit. I was like, it's fine. I was tired. And then we had a matchup. So I first I had to figure out how to do the actual camera work. And that was, oh my God, it was so difficult. And just trying to figure that out was hard enough. And then I actually was like, what am I going to do? So I just started flipping through the pages, and I wrote the script, and I was reading it as I was flipping through the pages for timing. And then I had to go back and re-record it. It was crazy. But it came out really well done. So once again, thank you guys for that. So now we go down a little bit. And we have the image. Once again, Abby designed that. Very nicely done. Has the information. It's a story. This is all her. This, once again, is, like I said, not the final cover, as it says here. Not the final cover, but this is Francesco's and Peter's work. Those are the characters. Yeah. So you can have Kelly, Adam, Chris, Natasha, and Ed. And we go down for a preview of the book, which is colors by Hassan Godwin, letters by George Medina, pencils by J. Smith, and inks by Peter Palmiotti. And this is, as I was saying, the main introduction to our character. So this page was drawn after the 110 pages were done, and he redrew this page, my character. And these are the good aliens, the Forlans, as you see the classic gray aliens there. And this is when they're actually getting the power source. And we have the evil Dronians right there. You can see they're more bulky. And I like how the images of the all the tattoos and everything, that was all Jay's designs. Like, I never told him any of that, but I think he did that to help differentiate what they look like. So I think he did a really cool job with that. And if you notice that he has like the black background with the whites of the eyes and the image and the tattoo coming out, that's, I'm guessing, was based off of like Tom McFarlane, because that was one of his things in the 90s, that he used to just do like a fully black image with the eyes lit up.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And I like those guys look like gladiators, you know.
Yeah. And the colors came out really nice for this. Like, you can tell how over here, and it has the Daily Alien down there. And you can actually see the very big difference between the characters. And these are the little power gems. They're called the Capricious Star. They're star fragments. This was before the Infinity Gauntlet, so just letting you know. It's a big thing, but it was 5 little gems at the time. So then we go to some black and white pages. And these, once again, are all the different aliens that are the main bad guys. And as you can see, they have like different designs to them, which it was all Jade. So he really did double duty. It wasn't just he just drew it, but he also designed the characters. And this is really amazing stuff, how he did it. The lettering positioning is crazy. I actually had a conversation with George to put how this all came in. And what's funny is that the original script, as writers may not know, sometimes you write more stuff than can fit on the page. So you have to do creative editing to make it all fit. And this was one of the more heavier dialogue pages. And we got it to work and flow, and it all fits in perfectly.
Nice.
So once again, it has that black image, and you can tell which characters are which right here. I move down for our main characters when they were meeting up towards this is towards the end of the book. And this is actually how she uses her powers. So right here, this is Natasha with her ability. They hear something happens. She would have died had she had not moved from that spot. And that's how her powers work. So there's no, as you can see, there's no evidence of the power working. She just moves out the way. And then we went on to the rewards, which is what people do. So as I'm going down the rewards, let me mention once again, if you pledge to any thing with a minimum of 10 people, you can get the Harry Potter figurine. You'll be entered to win that today. So in 40 minutes, we will announce the winner, as long as there's a minimum of 10 people there. And you can also put a donation tip for Pete, which is in the links, and you can get an extra entry. So we start off with the simple one, $1. Just for $1, you can get a shout out on my radio show. Came from the radio. We'll give you a shout out for a full month. It's a weekly show, so you'll get 4 shout outs for just $1. Then we have the digital PDF comic for $3. So you get that emailed to you, and you can enjoy it at your leisure. This is good for international orders because international shipping is crazy. And for $15, you can get a physical copy of the book mailed to you and the digital version. So it's like a combo pack. And then we go down to, if you just want the book on its own, that's $17 mailed to you, to your home, and you get to read it and enjoy the physical tangibility. Then we have a $20 pack, which comes with a trading card. This Natasha Ash trading card is penciled by Brian Kong, who I've known for many, many, many years. He's my go-to penciler. Cool. We actually, Pete, Brian, and I had worked on a proposal. This is one of those life lessons that we had. Pete came to me, and he was like, "Hey, you want to see if we can get a job at Marvel?" And I was like, "Sure." He's like, "I know an editor. We can go and have a project, but it has to be a team. So it has to have pencils, story, and ink." So I went to Brian, and we came up with an idea to continue issue 31, maybe 32 of the What If series, the second What If series, if the superheroes had stayed on the Secret War world. And they had a story about the kids, and the story that I had decided was to write about the kids coming back to Earth after what had happened, had all the heroes left. It was a big comic book thing in the 90s. And actually, they're talking about that's what they're gonna do with Phase 5 is Secret Wars.
Yeah, they're taking
So
our idea.
yes, so Brian did the pencils, Pete did the inks, and that was probably the best collaboration I've ever experienced in my life of how well that book looked. Like you guys only did, I think you did like 5 pages. And I wish I knew where those 5 pages were, but it was like I was just blown away by how exact the images were, exactly what I was thinking, and how beautiful it all came together. And we went and this is the lesson. This is a lesson for you guys. Pete, I don't know if you even remember the story, but you told me what the editor said. He was like, "Oh, this looks good, but we're gonna do something. We're gonna do our own Secret Wars thing. So what else you got?" And I had nothing. So the lesson here is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Always have a backup plan.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for inking work, and they were always, give us a pitch, give us a pitch, give us a pitch. So yeah, and then I went to Mark and Brian. So it goes,
So Brian did the pencils on this, and we have another person I know, Alex Rivera did the inks on this, and Hassan did the colors, and Abby did the design work on this. So the little thing over here, and then Natasha, that's all her. So you get a trading card with the physical comic. It just slips right into the book, and you also get the digital for $20. Then we go down for the big stuff. For $120, you'll get the comic, digital, and physical copy, and you get the original signed page. Pete will sign it. As you can see, this is the black and white version of the colored and inked page we had up here, so you can actually see the differences of how the colors make it pop. For that, so we only have 20 we have 22 pages plus 1 bonus page, so we have 23 pages of that. So it's only limited to 23 pages. It will be randomly picked, so no, you can't get like page 1 or page 1. It's just you got one. We'll just go through the pile. We'll turn it over so we can't see it. We'll pull one out, and that's the one you get. There's some action pages.
Like a big deck.
Yes, it's like a cards. So you'll get one signed page. The pages will be penciled and inked, so you'll get the original inks on there. So it is a high-end item. And then for the big stuff, we have a custom-made clay figurine by Shadow Rabbit Art. So let me see. You can minimize that for a second and go back to me, so I can show this on the screen.
Oh,
I don't know if this is actually
I'll just go close on you.
on here. So this here is a 5-inch figurine of my character Sunburst, done by Shadow Rabbit Art. It's all clay, and as you can see, the details is pretty darn good. So you get one of these in this type of a clay figurine of any of the characters from the book. So you can pick from the 5 main characters: Natasha, Adam, Kelly, Chris, and Ed, or you can get one of the King Brigand, the evil bad guy. So you get this is what it actually looks like. So what we put there was just samples of the image, which Abby put on there, but this is the actual what you can get. It looks really,
awesome.
really, 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 really good. And it gets shipped to you in a protective case. So this is all good. And that is for $220. And there's a link in the thing so you can see more of his work, which is www.shadowrabbitart. And then, of course, finally, for the high-end, super big thing, he can do a 12-inch clay figurine, which is twice the size of that. Or you get a battle diorama. So you have all the characters together in an action scene by the same thing, plus the physical and digital, and that's for $1,020. And you can see the little characters he designed. And those are just mini designs, so you get an idea. But that way you go to his website, you can see like what exactly are you getting. So then we have the add-ons, which is if you just want the Natasha trading card, that's $5, and that is what it looks like. And as I mentioned, I have my own character, Sunburst, and we have for another $5, we have an exclusive Sunburst trading card, which I have right here. Do you want to hold that up? Pull me up again.
Okay.
So this is the actual trading card of
It's a limited edition, right?
Yes, there's only I think 30 of these left that I have in my possession. So these were made for the War of the Independence crossover done by Dave Ryan. That was a 6-issue series. I think he's on issue 4 now, and that was also 30 years in the making.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on issue 6, but it was an idea that he had where he brought all independent creators to have a big fight, and he actually was like, "Hey, you got a character? You want to be in this book?" I was like, "Sure." So her first appearance is in issue 1 of War of the Independence. And I think it's you can still get it online, but that's from Red Anvil Comics. But you get a
Cool.
trading card from that of her, and then we go on down to the stretch goals. Stretch goal is going to be different for us. So because we have all 110 pages of the book penciled and partially inked, if we make enough money, we can go on to do more stretch goals and rewards, but we're only going to do one at a time. So we have one stretch goal right now. So if we make $6,200, which is what the campaign basically is, we're looking for $6,128. You can get some PDF comics from independent creators. You get a total of 6 additional digital comics from all these guys. So you get Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn by Daphne Lange. You get Tall Tales, Tear of the Mother, issue number 1 by J.D. Calderon and Daphne Lange. You get the Oswald Chronicles by J.D. Calderon and Jade Gonzalez. You get The Edge by Marvin Wynn. You get Storm Chasers by J.D. Rosario and Russ Leach. And you get Memoirs of an Angel by Brian Rodman. All the links are there. So you can check out. You get it free. So if we can make it, you'll get free 6 comics, a total of 202 pages. So if we're doing nothing more than sharing it around, making your pledge, you can get that as well. And then we go down to the Meet the Creators. Once again, Abby did all the design work of this. We have myself, which is, so this image is what you're saying you based the drawing off of,
Yes.
Abby?
Yes,
Nice.
that's the picture.
And that is the Phaser Sunburst crossover I was mentioning. So you have a little bit about me. We have Pete. And this is you said it was your favorite image of yourself, right, Pete?
At the moment, yeah.
That photo reminds me of Peter Capaldi for some reason.
I am Doctor Who.
Then we have Hassan as the colorist, and George Medina as the letterer. And then we have Abby, the graphic designer.
I'm very happy with the team. I'm very happy.
So yeah, this is so the rewards are on the right-hand side. You have all the different things. And that is it. So
That's not it. I think we should do a drum roll.
oh, for the what else is there for
Let's
the
refresh that page.
oh yeah. I forgot how to do that. Let's see. All right, so I'll hit this. Let's see what happens.
We're alive. Oh, here we go.
We got 4 backers already. So thank you very much.
Woo.
So we'll need
Thank you.
6 more for the raffle. So right here we're starting on our way. So what questions? So now you've seen the page and the images. What other questions do you have? Oh, that's really cool.
Do I
So
have?
thank you for that. Yeah. So well, people in the chat, my 2 co-companions on this live stream.
I have no questions.
No question.
No questions. All right. Fine. I'll do it myself. So wow, this is,
So,
all right. So yeah. So yeah. So once again, those so we need 6 more people for the Harry Potter drawing, which is right here.
Yeah.
So you can get this $200 value. So those 4 people are already entered, but you need to have 6 more people before you can actually win this.
Yeah, let's do this again.
Over there. So make sure you guys are sharing this out to all your friends. That if you really like the project, if you really want people to be interested in it, this is, oh yeah, look at that, it's very nicely done. If you want people to pledge to it, this is the moment, this is the time.
For my credit card, you can also pledge. Hold on.
So Abby is pledging. So I was actually going to ask her a question, but she's pledging. So Pete, what do you think of the?
I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask you about the cover placeholder image, because you also designed that, where the name placement was, where the square is, all that stuff.
Oh no. Okay. So for the cover art, for the word designate. Okay.
Process. Yes.
I'm in my yellow phase right now.
Run us through how that works.
Okay. I'm in my yellow phase right now, so yellow is on my top 3 favorite colors. And I thought it would be a nice color to put as the title, because you can see it from afar. It's going to be a good contrast in any color. Since we don't know since I don't know what the final cover looks like, it's a surprise to everybody. I thought yellow would be a nice contrast to any color that would be on there eventually. So I chose yellow, and then I wanted to make it have texture, so it has that light yellows and dark yellows, just to give it character, like Natasha's hair.
Right, a little texture.
Yeah, and that's it. I put it on top so it won't block anything else.
So what about the name placement and the placement of the little square here? How do you decide all that?
I based it off. What was the comic I based it off? Hold on, I don't remember. I forgot what it was. I showed it to you, Mark. Hold on. Is it here? Okay, I'm trying to get it. So I have a comic, a Marvel comic called Doom War. Issue 6 of 6, and I base it off of that. So it had the names at the bottom. So everybody who is part of the project's names are down there, and I also put Mark's logo down there so it won't obstruct anything.
But how do you decide on that? So was it just because you looked at this comic, like, all right, this is what he did, so I'm going to do something similar, or did you have your own graphic, artistic eye to know the placement of things?
Maybe a mixture of both. I don't know. I don't know how to explain things. This is why I do art. I don't have to talk.
Well, I did want to point out that you did mention the placement of the names are a certain reason.
Oh, you're right. Boobies. So if you see on the left boob, you see Peter's name, and on the right boob, you see Hassan's name. For emphasis.
See, so those are the little things that you would not think about, but as a beginner, these are things you have to put into your head.
It was a happy accident.
I thought you put the Mark's logo there because he's like facing the same way as the other characters, but he's looking at us.
Yes. He's also part of the team, or the superheroes. He has super storytelling abilities. So yeah.
So I'm not looking at the boobs, basically.
Yeah. Well, debatable. Yeah.
So do you think you're gonna have a future in coloring stuff as well, because now you've gotten a taste of all this?
We'll see. It looks so difficult. Okay, so I teach art, to, I teach art to kids who are in like Gen Z kids,
So what age
and
range is that?
they're like 16 to 20 years old, and they're the opposite of Peter, who started with traditional art. They started with digital art,
Right.
and it's funny because I see their so before you enroll, I need to see like sample works that you made. So I see everything digital, everything looks great. But then I have traditional art class with them, and it's a disaster. So yeah, it's like it's the opposite of Pete's problem. And yeah, so I don't know if I can do it because I also started with traditional art, and I'm just maybe blindly going through digital art, learning by myself, maybe with YouTube a little bit. So I need time to learn.
Yeah, yeah. It's all just doing it over and over, and you get better over time, and you make it your focus. Um, yeah, like kids are growing up with phones, like when they're 7, like really young, they have a phone, like, and they're
Hmm.
speaking in chat and doing all this stuff on the phone. And it's like I can't even, find things.
So Pete, there was a time in the comic book world, especially for Marvel Comics, that they decided to circumnavigate the inker and go straight from pencils to colors. You want to share your thoughts about that? Not being biased as an inker, of course.
I'm not biased at all. It sucks. Um, no, purely from me as a fan, because that's how I see a lot of things. Me as a fan, most of what I've seen that was just pencils and colored doesn't look good. You know, art, the pencils need that tight inking line. Um, there are exceptions. Like Jim Stranko did a book years ago called Chandler, and it's very like 50s noir detective story. And he specifically designed it to be penciled and then colored. But he colored it like, like the old 70s, 80s comics. It very just one color here, one color there, blah, blah, blah. But it was all pencil work. And you could tell if you look at it. But it looked gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. Um, but it was designed to do that, and what I've seen in comics is pencils that were colored without any real thought. It's mostly like the publisher trying to save money or time or whatever. Um, and yeah, it doesn't look nearly as good. I don't care how great the artist is, because I see like a lot of sketchbooks where you just see the pencil work of an artist, and it's incredible, but it doesn't translate when it goes into comic form, and then it gets colored over and it looks washy. It's not as strong an image. So my preference is always, ink it, do it right.
The only comic I was following at the time that did the transition was Captain Marvel, written by Peter Davis, one of my favorite artists, who you've worked with.
Right.
It just lost something, and it was just so weird. It's like this felt like an unfinished book that I was reading.
Yeah, yeah. Like I guess back in the day, there were, I forget if it was Dracula. Gene Colan did some pencil issues or something or another, and those were okay. Those were cool. Like he has a very unique, different style to his work. But yeah, my preference is always ink it, finish it, do it. It's like getting a comic without it being lettered, or it's like, uh, it's just one of the steps. You got to do all the steps.
So Abby, were you a comic book collector as a young Abby or no?
I had two brothers, so they did the collecting for me, and I just had the liberty to browse through everything.
Cool.
And I had the trade paperback of the X-Men comics.
Oh,
So,
okay.
what else did I have? And then when I was in college, I went to an art school, and the library was just not full of like school books. Half of it was full of the comics.
Nice.
So yeah, that was fun.
So did you have a favorite comic book character growing up or even now?
I don't think I have a favorite comic. Maybe Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Since I read a lot of X-Men
Very
stuff.
nice. Yeah.
Do you have a bias, Pete?
Well, I'll throw a recommendation. If you're out there and you love the X-Men, go find it's Comic Book Girl 19 on YouTube. And years ago, she did I forget what she titled it as.
Oh, I think we lost Pete.
No. Suspense.
So he said Comic Book Girl?
Comic Book Girl 19 or Comic Girl 19?
Comic Book Girl 19. Huh. So I'm looking that up right now.
And she recently revisited.
No, he's dead.
Oh, I think he got sucked into the black hole of the internet.
Wait, it's getting better. I got 2 bars.
Okay, so.
Oh, okay, I think I'm back.
Yes. So what about Comic Book Girl 19?
Epic
Cool
History of X-Men.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah. Volume 1. It's such a good watch, and it really, highlights the insane craft of, just Chris Claremont and John Byrne, and mostly Chris Claremont, because it's all him. Like, the history of each character and what they went through, and it was like the storylines were all mapped out for years, and it's incredible. That whole run was incredible, and it's definitely recommend watching that if you're an X-Men fan.
Okay.
And she does a really deep dive on it. It's really great.
It's funny. I've never been a huge X-Men fan, and I know that's always been like the big thing for Marvel. And then before the MCU came out, obviously, X-Men was their cash cow. And I remember there was a comic book with the Hulk versus X Factor, which was the original 5 members of X-Men, and he fought in the comic. The Hulk fought him, and I remember meeting Peter David. And Peter David loves to talk. So you're on a line waiting to get his your stuff signed, and he will sign everything for you. Like, at least back in the day, you used to meet him. People used to come with stacks and stacks of books, and used to sign each and every one. And so he had fought Wolverine when he had made the Hulk gray. So it was a Gray Hulk versus Wolverine on one issue, which I have. And then it was Hulk versus X Factor. And the guy in front of me was like, "Hey, when's he gonna fight the rest of the X-Men?" And Peter David said, "He's never going to fight the rest of the X-Men because no one wants to see the X-Men lose."
Right.
It's true. Right? Did we also that? Oh no.
Are we back?
Connection's being bad.
Are we back? I'm back.
We're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so Peter David said he didn't want No one wanted to see the X-Men lose. That's why they would never fight the Hulk. So I was like, that's awesome.
Well, you know, it's always like when they pit heroes against heroes, it's always like, well, nobody really crushes or gets close to killing the other character. It's just like, oh, he kind of beat him, you know.
He got a scratch.
A similar thing happened with the death of Superman. We're actually at the 30th anniversary, 30-year anniversary of the death of Superman, and I had met the creator, the penciler and writer of that story, Dan Jurgens, to sign my copy, and I had asked him, hey, how come the rest of the superheroes weren't around? Where was Wonder Woman? Where was the main Justice League of America? Because Doomsday fought like the low end guys. I don't even think he fought Batman in that. And he said the editors at DC did not want to have their heroes lose, so he wasn't allowed to use them. I was like, oh, that's very interesting. You can learn some behind the scenes stuff of how comic books are made.
Yeah, like all the big epic fights and most of the universe of characters are not there.
So there was speaking of heroes versus heroes, the debate is who would win in a fight between X and X. And I forget who it was. It probably was Peter David, because this sounds like a Peter David answer. But whenever anyone comes to you and says, who would win in a fight between somebody and somebody, you can say one of two things. The winner would be the fans, or you can say it depends on the writer. Because if you have a good writer, either one can win under the right circumstances. So you can never say, if Superman really fought Batman, who would win? Everybody would say, with enough prep time as Batman, or like, well, Superman, you just take Batman and throw him into the sun. So it depends on the writer. So I always thought that was an interesting way to look at how these things are set up.
Yeah, because Superman just like smash Batman into the ground, and that's it.
All right, so let's see. We are at, where is it? All right, go back up here. And hit refresh. 30 days to go, so we are ending on.
I guess it's updating because we're at 5 backers.
Oh yeah! All right, cool. So 5 backers. Thank you very much. I was hoping to get to 10 because that way we can give away our good old Hermione. I guess she might have to wait another day.
Well, we're on a show later. We're on Global Frequency. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if we don't get to 10 now, are we going to do it then?
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think we can do that. So if we don't get to 10 in the next 10 minutes, we can extend it to the first 10 people who pledged. They will be entered.
Right.
Because that way they get the bonus. Because we do get the emails, we do get the information. So yeah. So it'll be the first 10 people will be randomly get it, and then if we fund, we'll send that puppy out. And I think I'll be cool. And if we don't fund, we'll still get the information. So your names will be entered. Donate to the library. Harry Potter event is Monday. So yeah, so that is the project. What other questions you guys have in the chat? Feel free to ask about the characters, about how this all came to be. I can actually mention how the story came about. So this originally, when I was at the comic book store and they said you can make a comic for $2,000, one of the debates was at the time was that if you make something and you go to all the big publishers to get it published, they would steal your idea. How do people get your idea? We're going to get our idea stolen. And the teacher, oh, cool, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And the teacher said, why would they steal your idea if they can hire you and they can take your ideas all the time. And I was like, he's got a point. So the idea was to make something that you're willing to lose or willing to give up to get your idea and get yourself into the comic book world. So my original story, which I had never shared, is still sitting in my word processor. I have that's fantastical superhero stuff, sci-fi, all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I can't do that because I don't want to lose that story. So let me make something else. And this is how that came out to be. So it's a very anti mega super type of story. It's just kind of a low-key interactions, low-key powers, just based on story. And what made it interesting is that I have a very critical mind on story. That's very important to me. I like things to make sense. So I wrote it with that in mind. As I always say, you have to write with yourself as the audience. And over the 30 years, I've become even more critical and more nitpicky when it comes to certain things. And certain things I can let go. I can see what they're trying to do. For example, the new Ghostbuster movie. Has everybody seen the new Ghostbuster movie? Is anybody interested in seeing? Okay. So the end scene, when they have the main characters all coming together, it makes no sense if you're watching it. How did they have time to get dressed, all show up at the same time, at the same place? They had no coordination, all those questions come into mind. But you can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to hit that nostalgia button. They were trying to hit that moment. They were trying to create a moment. So you kind of give them a little leeway, all right, I see what you're trying to do. You go right ahead. But critically thinking, earlier in the movie, they said they were from different places. They didn't have any of their equipment. And then they all show up at the right time, at the right place, all together with their equipment, with their costumes. And you have to think, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm more critical now than I've ever been. And when I'm getting ready for this Kickstarter campaign, I had to reread my story.
Right.
And I'm reading it, not remembering half the stuff I wrote. So I'm reading it now as a fan, just reading it. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Why is this? Why is that? I don't understand it. And what was awesome about it is that as I read the whole thing, all my questions were answered. And I was like, holy crap, I really did a good job. I was so impressed with myself, my past self, that it passed the test. I was like, wow, why did they do this? And then an issue later, I'm like, oh, that's why. I can see it. So I thought that was really, that gave me the confidence to be like, you know what, I think we can still do this. Because I feel the story holds up.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. For it to really be a contained story that throws out mysteries, but it also answers itself and is entertaining, has characters you want to get to know and all that jazz.
And it's really it's so weird how you can have stories from the 90s today with slight variations. The only thing difference between then and now, at least in the story, is just technology.
Right.
So one of the biggest things in one of the pages is that we have Natasha with a TV in the background, and we have that giant tube TV. So that just sticks out. And I had her listening to an answering machine. Nobody has an answering machine now. Nobody does that.
No.
So those little things makes me go, well, I have to say it was based in the 90s. Yeah. But other than that, it still pretty holds up true. People are still people, interactions, it's all there. And I thought it was really cool. And the fact that the pages were already drawn, it makes it difficult to do any changes. It has to be what it has to be.
You could do changes, but a lot of stories now are kind of lame because it's everybody's on their phone in the comic. It's everything is internet news, fake news, and blah blah blah. It's all, I don't know. I find all that boring somehow. There's more life to there's more life happening back in the 90s, frankly. You know, it's like not everybody's stuck to their phone or computer or whatever, and they're actually out there and doing things.
So you think if a story was drawn and written now, as they are, there'd be just everybody just staring at their phones and the action's happening in the background?
Yeah, it's like, oh, look on this website, they're aliens coming to Earth, like, or whatever. You know?
That's actually in one of the scenes. I mean, nowadays, whenever something happens, people are actually recording it on their phones as opposed to living in the moment or helping. So one of the scenes in the book where the girl uses her powers, there's a situation where that wouldn't happen at all now. And I wonder how I would write that now, because if there's a in one I think in the future issue, I think it's like issue 2, there's a fight, and the girl is in the middle of the crowd, and her powers make the bad guy run away in fear because of that's how the powers work. They don't win the battle, but that's how the powers work. And I'm thinking, if it was now, people would be holding out their phones, and would they be as scared, or would they be more concerned about getting the views and the likes? So that would change that actual scene based on how her powers work.
Yeah. I'm sure it would be different, you know.
All right, so let me hit refresh one more time, because we are at the 12:45 mark, almost done with the live stream. And we are at 6 people, 6 backers, $259. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are sharing it out there. As we mentioned, we'll have the first 10 people. There, you guys will be entered to win the figurine. So your donations are appreciated, and you'll get rewarded with this valuable over $200 value of a Harry Potter figurine right here. Unopened, get mailed to you, even if we don't fund at the end of the campaign. So you'll get it in September. Yeah. So, buddy, you have to think 1 month ahead. It'll be September.
Yeah, we should mention that, you know, we're going on Global Frequency tonight. We got probably 20 shows altogether booked so far. We're going to book some more.
Yes.
We're going on a whole tour to promote Designated.
Virtual Designated tour.
Yeah, this is you know, this is really Mark's first crowdfunder, and it's his project and his baby, and so it's going to be a slow burn to get our numbers up and all that.
And that's okay. We have 30 days. That's the whole point. We have 30 days to go. So we end in August 30th. Wait, no, we end in August
31st.
Yeah, we end at 30th.
Page.
We end in August. Oh yeah, it says it on the page. This shows how much I know. Let's see. 30 days to go. That's what it says. 30 days to go. So ends. There we go. Ends on Tuesday, August 30th. At 12:01 p.m.
Cool.
We can do this.
Yeah, so everybody make sure you're spreading it around. As I said, the world is kind of sucky right now, so you never know what people's financial situations are, and I do not expect anyone to donate who cannot, but you can share it around. You can tell other people about it. And as I said in the video, you never know. Somebody who might be interested in comics, somebody who might like this, but hey, check this guy out. If you like some fantasy book, which the book's already done, like I said, it's pencils and inks you can plainly see, so you'll get your book. And then we have all the other little bells and whistles, trading card, the figurine, which is very amazing.
What we haven't mentioned is the Designated is part of the Ripperverse.
Yes, the Ripperverse. We're a small portion of the Ripperverse. We're gonna have a crossover with us and them in issue 6. And the story is complete. You know, it's beginning, middle, end. So you get the full story. I mean, this is just the first 22 pages, and if, like I said, by some miracle we're able to get a big enough stretch goal, which we have other stretch goals in the wings, you might actually wind up getting the entire book for this first campaign. So keep that in mind also. And for the people who don't know, stretch goals work as if we reach it, you automatically get the stuff, so you don't have to pay anymore. It's like a bonus, as like a thank you for us getting the higher numbers. All right, so with less than 10 minutes to go, we can start to wrap things up. I guess we'll start with Abby, our graphic designer. Do you have anything you want to say to people watching or listening out there, or in the future between now and 30 days from now?
I hope I get the Hermione figure. Pledge everyone else, or I'll get it.
So,
Just kidding.
do you wanna talk about your experience with the project right now? Now everybody can see your work.
It's been fun working with everybody. I get to learn new things and explore different art, I guess, art outlets. So yeah, I hope everybody supports this project.
And if you like what you did, if people like what you did, Abby, where can people find you? Where can people, if they want to hire you to do some work?
You can find me on Instagram. My art Instagram is art by Abby Gabato on Instagram, and my personal Instagram account is just Abby Gabato.
Nice. So Pete, what's your final words, your experience with this project after 30 years?
Well, I mean, I'm glad it's finally coming to be, and yeah, I mean, like, we're going to put it in the work and make sure that we go on tour and let as many people know about the project as possible. And, you know, we hope to get it funded, but I hope all 5 issues are funded. And I mentioned, like, if we get this whole book done, this will be the single biggest project I've worked on that will come in one package. So I'm really excited for people to read this issue and be wanting more, because I want to get all 5 books out there. So this is just the beginning, and I hope you give it a look, give it a pledge, share it like Mark says. And yeah, we'll be talking about it for quite some time now.
My experience is that I'm actually glad that anyone donated. So first of all, thank you for that. I really appreciate beyond words how you never really know what people's interest in your stuff is until you put it out there. So right there, I want to thank the people for donating and pledging. It's really cool to finally get this to be a thing. We have 30 days to go, and I'm confident and hopeful that we will at least make our first goal, and then people can get it. Pre-pandemic, I went to San Diego Comic-Con, and I talked about this book, and somebody came up to me after the panel, some random guy. I had never met him before. He's in San Diego, and he said, "Wow, this is a really cool idea for a book." I was like, holy crap. Like, just the fact that some random stranger online in person was like, hey, you got a good idea. It was very rewarding, So then, I was like, thanks, man.
And then Todd McFarlane walked away.
So just to be able to get this out there and hopefully people will enjoy it. It's really a big deal to me. And yeah, I'm biased. I think it's a good story. I hope you also think it's a good story. And it was 110 pages, so you have to also put that into consideration. That if you read the first issue, and I want to know what happens, or trust me, it gets all resolved. All questions will be answered. And I've worked on more of the first issue than anything else. So certain things that happen later on, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened. But it's all in there. So yeah, I think we're ready to wrap up.
I'll also mention, I hope we past our you know, our goal. But I hope we really pass it by a long distance. I hope we sell a lot of the original artwork, because any money I make off of this, and I'll make a portion of, you know, whatever the profit is, I'm going to be putting into retro, and I know people want to see retro. So make this project happen, and retro will look all that much better.
Yeah. Also, make sure check out our radio show. Came from the Radio. We'll be promoting this heavily on the show for the next 4 weeks. That's www.camefromradio.com. Check out our Facebook page, Came from the Radio, and Twitter, Came from the Radio. We'll be promoting this heavily, so bear with us as we go through this campaign. But we'll still be doing a regular show. We'll have other interviews and other characters. So yeah, I believe that is it. Thank you so much. And as I mentioned, the first 10 people, so we got 5 more people to go to get entered into the, oh, actually, no, 6 backers now. So that's 4 more people to go.
Yeah.
So 4 more people to go. You all guys get entered into the raffle to get the character, the Hermione figurine, which is worth a big bag of money. So right there, you're at the advantage.
Yep.
All right. So Pete, what's your next stream gonna be? Or you're not sure yet?
What we're doing tonight? We're doing Global Frequency at 6 o'clock.
Global Frequency at 6 p.m. And then people come to your channel and they can also see other things that you're gonna be working on. Do you know what your next thing you're gonna be working on? You're gonna be making some pages and stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably do a stream after Global. You know, like, yeah, I don't have a set time, but
okay,
I'm going to try to stream every day, and I'll be promoting this book, of course, and I'll be working on art. I got a couple of things to ink, but then I'm going to be penciling and inking a bunch of fan art on my channel. So if you want to come check it out, see what I'm up to, by all means, come back.
All right, so without anything else to say, I want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank all the future watchers of this live stream. Hopefully you'll be able to see this before the campaign ends. So make sure you guys follow us, share this video out, share out the information of the book. If you have any interest, if you think someone you know might like it, share it out there. We really greatly appreciate it. All right, so Pete, you want to wrap it up?
All right. Thank you all for coming. Like, subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, share out this video, and we'll see you again soon. So take care, everybody. Why isn't it? Okay, there we go.